You know that feeling, right? You're in an argument, it's going in circles, it gets messy, maybe a little personal, and you just walk away thinking, what was the point? Well, what if you could change that? What if you could turn that chaos into a clear, persuasive case? Today, we're going to learn how to become architects of our arguments, how to build them with a solid structure that doesn't just win, but actually makes a difference.
So here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with the starting point. Then we'll move on to the blueprint, build out the framework, talk about the payoff, and finally, we'll put it all together in the master plan that you can use for pretty much anything. All right, first things first, we've got to be clear on what we're even talking about. You see, not all disagreements are the same, and knowing what kind of conversation you're walking into is absolutely the first step to building a case that actually holds up.
We throw the words argument and debate around like they're the same thing, but really, in the world of persuasion, they are miles apart. One is just a casual chat that can go off the rails, and the other is a structured competition. So what is the real difference here?
Think about it this way. An argument is that messy, informal thing that often just ends in frustration, right? A debate, though, that's different. It's a structured competition. It has rules, a judge, and it's all designed to lead to a decision. Our goal here is to borrow that structure from a debate to make our everyday arguments way more productive. Okay, so every single solid argument, every real debate, kicks off with one thing: the claim. This is like the headline for your entire case. It's that one single idea you are trying to prove, like Susie should have a new car. Everything else we're about to build is going to support that one simple statement.
So you've got your claim. Now the temptation is to just jump right in with your opinion, right? Wrong. The next step is to create a blueprint. And the key to a good blueprint isn't having all the answers. It's about asking all the right questions.
Let me tell you a quick story. It's a classic cautionary tale. When Duncan Hines decided to launch their cake mix in Japan, they did all their homework. Seriously, they researched incomes, what people like to eat. They saw almost no competition. They thought, this is going to be huge. They shipped thousands of boxes, and it was a total flop, a spectacular failure. And the reason it all fell apart was, well, it was painfully simple. They assumed their customers could actually bake the cake. But back then, the typical Japanese kitchen didn't have a conventional oven. It had a rice cooker. They answered every question except for the one that actually mattered.
And that brings us to this idea of issues. These are the critical, sometimes uncomfortable questions we have to ask to challenge our own assumptions. Duncan Hines had a massive blind spot, and let's be honest, we all do. Figuring out those blind spots by asking the right questions is the hardest part of this whole thing, but it is, without a doubt, the most important.
Okay, so we have our claim, and we've used it to uncover the critical questions, our issues. Now, we can finally start putting the pieces together and building a solid framework for our argument.
And you know, a really good way to think about this is like you're building a house. You can't just throw all the parts together and hope it stands, right? A strong, persuasive case has to be built from the ground up, with every single piece supporting the next.
So here's how that structure breaks down. Your claim, that single point you're trying to prove, that's the roof. The roof is held up by beams. Those are your contentions, the main reasons that support your claim. And all of it, the whole house, rests on a solid foundation of evidence. Those are the facts, the data, the proof that makes the entire argument sound solid.
So you've built this perfect house, this flawless case. The logic is airtight. But you're still missing one thing, and honestly, it might be the most important part. You have to answer the question that's always in the back of your audience's mind. So what? This is where impact comes in. Impact is the ultimate consequence. It's the payoff. It's what makes people actually care about what you're saying. Look, it's not enough to just be right. You have to show why being right actually matters in the real world.
And there are two main ways to frame that impact. The first is quantitative or utilitarian. This is all about the numbers game, the greatest good for the greatest number. The second way is qualitative or deontological. This is based on morals and ethics, the idea that some things are just fundamentally right or wrong no matter what the outcome is. Let's make this real with a classic thought experiment. Would you travel back in time and kill baby Hitler? Now, a utilitarian might say, of course, sacrificing one life to save millions? The math checks out. But a deontologist would say, absolutely not. Murder is always morally wrong, period, no matter the consequences. And that right there is the tension between quantitative and qualitative impact.
All right,
We have all our building materials, the claim, the questions, the framework, the impact. Now, it's time to put it all together into one master plan, a process you can literally use for any argument you'll ever have.
Here it is, the whole process in 5 simple steps. Number 1, start with one single clear claim. 2, discover the key issues by asking those tough questions. 3, form your contentions from the answers you find. 4, back them up with solid, undeniable evidence. And finally, number 5, drive it all home by explaining the impact.
And that's it. That 5-step process gives you the power to go beyond just bickering and start constructing cases that are clear, organized, and truly persuasive. You now have the blueprint, so the only question left is, what argument are you going to build next?